It's 8:14 p.m, Tuesday. The electronic lock beeps. A heavy door swings open and then shuts. Inside, the air is perfectly conditioned to 72 degrees. The view of the city skyline is breathtaking. The marble floors are spotless. Enter Emma, 36 years old, VP of Operations. She drops a designer bag onto the kitchen island. It lands with a heavy thud. That sound is the only conversation she will have tonight. Emma kicks off her heels. She sighs. It's not a sigh of relief. It's the sound of air escaping a balloon that has been squeezed too tight for too long. She pulls out her phone. The screen lights up her face in the dark. Instagram notification, 432 likes on her post from this morning. A photo of her in the boardroom. Caption, building empires, no days off. Her comments, Queen, goals, you are everything I want to be. She stares at the screen. She feels absolutely nothing. This is the great paradox of the modern female experience. On paper, Emma has won the game. She followed the script perfectly as she got the degree and she got the promotion as she bought the apartment. She became the independent woman that every magazine cover celebrated for the last 2 decades. But if she has everything, why does she feel like she's suffocating? She walks to the fridge, pours a glass of Pinot Noir, a bit too full. This isn't a drink for pleasure. It's a chemical necessity to lower her cortisol levels after 10 hours of combat in a high-stakes corporate environment. She sits on her velvet sofa. The apartment is quiet, too quiet. There is no husband to ask about her day, no children running through the hall, just the low hum of the refrigerator and the blue light of a dating app. Swipe left, swipe left, swipe left. This is not what she was promised. For 20 years, society told her that a career would fill the void, that financial autonomy was the ultimate form of fulfillment, that men were optional, accessories to a well-curated life. Society lied. What Emma is experiencing is not depression. It is a biological override. It is the primal scream of 300,000 years of human evolution colliding headfirst with a 30-year-old social experiment. Her brain is wired for tribal connection, for nurturing, for deep pair bonding. But her reality is isolation, competition, and digital validation. She is a biological organism living in a synthetic cage. A cage made of gold, but a cage nonetheless. Tonight, we are going to dissect Emma's life, not to judge her, but to understand the mechanics of her misery. We are going to look at the cold, hard data behind why the most successful generation of women in history is also the most medicated and the most unhappy. Welcome to the reality no one wants to talk about. Let's rewind. 16 years ago, Emma is 20, bright-eyed, an undergraduate degree in hand, the world is an open oyster. She isn't just a student, she is a disciple of a new religion, the religion of self-actualization through career. The professors, the media, the celebrity role models, they all handed her the same blueprint. It looked like a map to paradise. The commandments were simple. 1. Don't marry young. That's for women who lack ambition. 2. Freeze your eggs if you have to. Biology is just an engineering problem. 3. Climb the ladder. The view from the top is the only one that matters. Emma was a good student. She memorized the script. She believed that if she worked hard enough and the universe would deliver the outcome she deserved, so she entered the workforce. And here is where the first biological fracture occurred. To succeed in the high-stakes corporate world, Emma had to change. You don't become a VP of Operations by being nurturing, soft, or agreeable. Those are feminine virtues. The marketplace punishes them. The marketplace rewards masculine virtues. Aggression, competitiveness, stoicism, disagreeableness, day by day, year by year. Emma systematically suppressed her feminine energy. She coated herself in a layer of psychological armor. She learned to kill her empathy to close a deal. She learned to sacrifice her sleep for a quarterly target. She became a warrior, and she succeeded. The promotions came, the salary bumps came. By age 28, she was making more money than 95% of the men in her city. But here lies the fatal miscalculation. Emma believed in a fundamental lie, a lie so pervasive that to question it is considered heresy. She believed that men value women for the same reasons women value men. She looked at high-value men, the CEOs, the movers, the shakers, and saw that they were attracted to status and competence. So, she thought, if I become wealthy and competent, I will attract the best men. This is the greatest tragic comedy of the modern era. In the sexual marketplace, Men and women operate with completely different currencies. Women are hypergamous. They look up. They want a man who is competent, resource-rich, and protective. Emma wants a man who makes more than her, who is more dominant than her. Men are simple. Biological imperatives dictate their attraction triggers. A high-value man. The kind Emma wants does not care about her degree. He does not care about her title. He doesn't care that she can buy her own Gucci bag. Why? Because he can buy his own bag. He doesn't need a provider. He needs a partner. He is looking for what he doesn't have. He has stress. He wants peace. He has competition. He wants cooperation. He has hardness. He wants softness. He has resources. He wants fertility and beauty. Emma spent her entire youth building a resume that impresses other women and her parents. But to the men she actually desires, her resume is irrelevant. Worse, it's a liability. By becoming a hard-charging corporate killer, she didn't become a better catch. She became their competition. When she sits across from a potential suitor on a date, she isn't radiating the feminine warmth that triggers a man's protection instinct. She is radiating the combative energy of a boardroom adversary. She is bringing masculine energy to a man who is already swimming in it. It is like trying to sell ice to an Eskimo. She thought she was building a castle to attract a king. In reality, she was building a fortress that keeps the king out, and she didn't even notice he'd do. She was too busy leaning in. Now, we enter the golden era. Emma is 24, then 26, then 28. This is her reproductive peak. Her skin is glowing with collagen. Her fertility is signaling at maximum volume. In the ancestral environment, the African savanna 10,000 years ago, Emma would have had maybe 30 potential mates in her entire lifetime. She would have chosen the best hunter, the strongest protector, and settled down by 20. But Emma doesn't live in a tribe. She lives in New York City, and she has a smartphone. She downloads a dating app. Suddenly, those 30 potential mates become 3 million. This is the buffet syndrome. Imagine walking into a buffet. If there are only 3 dishes, you pick one, you eat it, and you are satisfied. But if there are 500 dishes, you become paralyzed. You pick a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You never commit to a full meal because you are terrified that the next dish might be tastier. Emma is drowning in abundance. She swipes right, match. She swipes right again, match. It's an endless dopamine loop. Ding, ding, ding. Every match is a micro-injection of validation. It tells her brain, you're desirable, you're a prize, you're a goddess. She goes on dates, 3 a week. She meets the investment banker, the architect, and the guy who owns a tech startup. These men, the top 10%, are happy to take her to dinner. They are happy to sleep with her. Why wouldn't they? She is young and beautiful, but here is the critical distortion. Emma mistakes sexual access for relationship commitment, because the top 10% of men are willing to sleep with her. She assumes she is entitled to a commitment from a top 10% man. She doesn't realize she is part of their rotation. While she is analyzing his text messages with her friends, he is swiping on 3 other girls just like her. Meanwhile, what about the other men? The average men. The accountant who would treat her like a queen, the engineer who wants to build a family, to Emma, they're invisible. She calls them boring. She says she feels no spark. In evolutionary psychology terms, her hypergamy has been supercharged by technology. Her baseline for satisfaction has been artificially inflated. She rejects the good guys because she believes a perfect guy is just 1 swipe away. Why settle for a 7 when I can get a 10, she asks. She breaks up with a decent guy at 26 because he's not ambitious enough. She ghosts a kind man at 27 because he's too available. She is drunk on power. She feels like the selector, the gatekeeper, and honestly in this phase, she is. The sexual marketplace in the 20s is skewed heavily in favor of women. She holds all the cards, but she makes the same mistake that every gambler makes in a casino. She thinks the winning streak will last forever. She doesn't look at the calendar. She doesn't realize that her power is derived from a depreciating asset, her youth, while the power of the men she wants is derived from an appreciating asset, their status. She is partying on a credit card that has a very steep interest rate. And the bill. The bill is coming due in the next decade. But for now, she swipes, she laughs, she travels to Tulum, she posts the photos. She is living her best life. She has no idea that she is systematically disqualifying herself from the long-term happiness she claims to want. She is training her brain to crave variety, novelty, and chaos, rendering her incapable of the boredom required for a stable marriage. She is eating at the buffet, night after night, unaware that the kitchen is about to close. Then comes the shift. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not an explosion. It's a slow leak. Emma turns 29, then 30, then 32. Professional success is exploding. She is now a director. She buys the condo. She leases the Audi. She has disposable income that makes her parents' generation look like peasants. She walks into a room and commands respect. She manages a team of 20 people. She solves million-dollar problems before lunch. She feels powerful. She feels like she has leveled up. And logically, she assumes her romantic prospects should level up with her. She thinks, I bring more to the table now. I have money. I have status. I am a catch. So, she updates her standards. The man she dates must be on her level. Actually, he needs to be above her level. If she makes $150,000, he needs to make $250,000. If she is a director, he needs to be a C-suite executive. He must be 6 feet tall, fit, ambitious, worldly. She creates a checklist that only 1% of the male population can satisfy. And this is where the math turns against her. Let's look at the numbers. The pool of men who meet her financial and physical criteria is already tiny. But now, subtract the men who are already married. Most high-value men marry by 30-32. Subtract the men who are gay. Subtract the players who never want to settle down. The pool is now a puddle. But the real problem isn't the size of the puddle. It's who else is fishing in it. Those high-value of 35-year-old men. The ones making $300K, they aren't looking for a 33-year-old director of operations who works 60 hours a week and checks her emails during dinner. They are looking at the 24-year-old yoga instructor or the 25-year-old school teacher. Why? Because the yoga instructor has time, she has youth, she has low stress, she is flexible not just physically, but mentally. She molds her life around his. Emma cannot do that. Emma is rigid. Emma has her own schedule, her own demands, her own empire. Emma is competing with her younger self, and she is losing. She notices the change on the dating apps. The likes are still there, but the quality has dropped. The top-tier alpha males are gone. Now she gets likes from 1, men much older, 50 plus, or 2, men much younger seeking a sugar mama, 3, men who are beta providers, nice guys, but they don't excite her primal brain. She goes on dates with these beta guys, but she feels nothing. Actually, she feels contempt. She sits across from a guy who makes less money than her, and her hypergamy screams in horror. She cannot respect him, and a woman cannot love a man she does not respect. So she stays single, and to protect her ego from this painful reality, she invents a narrative. She tells her friends over at a brunch, men are intimidated by my success. They can't handle a strong woman. Their toxic masculinity makes them insecure around a female boss. This is the single greatest lie told to modern women. Let me be crystal clear, are not intimidated by your success. They simply do not care. Your success is masculine energy. It is useful in the boardroom. It is repulsive in the bedroom. A man does not want to come home to a second boss. He does not want to debate strategy with his wife. He wants a sanctuary. He wants softness. Emma has spent 10 years sharpening her sword to fight in the corporate war. She has become efficient, critical, and hard. She has become the man she wanted to marry, and two swords do not embrace. They clash. By the time she reaches 34, the silence in her apartment gets louder. She starts to freeze her eggs, a $15,000 insurance policy against her own biology. The doctor tells her the eggs are good, but the doctor doesn't tell her the hard truth. A frozen egg is not a husband. She doubles down on her career. It's the only place where she gets consistent positive feedback. She works later. She travels more. She tells the world she is choosing herself. But deep down, in the biological basement of her brain, so the alarm is starting to ring. We are back in the apartment, 36 years old. The wine glass is empty. The screen on her phone has gone black. This moment, right here, is what the manosphere calls the wall. Most people think the wall is just about wrinkles. They think it's about looks fading. That is superficial. The real wall is psychological. The real wall is the sudden, violent collision between expectation and reality. It is the moment the music stops, and Emma realizes there are no chairs left. Let's look at the biology. It is cruel. It does not care about feminism. It does not care about political correctness. At 36, Emma is technically considered a geriatric pregnancy. That is the medical term. Her fertility has dropped off a cliff. Every month that passes is a lottery ticket she's tearing up. For a man, age 36 is the beginning of his prime. He is just getting started. He can have children for another 40 years. For Emma, the window is closing and the blinds are being drawn. She feels a specific type of pain that is unique to modern women in visibility. For 15 years, she walked through the world with a spotlight on her. Men opened doors, bartenders gave free drinks, her presence disrupted rooms. She had pretty privilege. She took it for granted, like oxygen. Now the spotlight has shifted. She walks into a coffee shop, and the barista looks through her to smile at the 22-year-old girl standing behind her. The girl in the sweatpants with the messy bun. The girl who hasn't achieved anything yet. But that girl has youth. That girl is potential. Emma is history. This invisibility creates a neurochemical crisis. Female psychology is heavily dependent on social validation and connection. When that supply is cut off, cortisol spikes, serotonin plummets. Emma looks at her life and does the math. She has the Gucci bags, she has the stamps in her passport, she has the title. But look at the friend she used to mock. Remember Jessica, the boring friend from college? The one who married the average accountant at 24 and moved to the suburbs. Emma used to pity her. Poor Jessica, she gave up her freedom. She's just a mum. Now, Emma looks at Jessica's Facebook. Jessica looks tired. Yes, but Jessica is holding a baby here. Her husband is holding her. They're at a baseball game. They are building a legacy. They are not alone. Emma realizes with a sickening thud in her stomach Jessica won. Jessica invested in family when her market value is high. Emma invested in a corporation that will replace her within 2 weeks if she dies tomorrow. And what about the men? Where are the high-value men? Emma deserves. They are still there. The 38-year-old CEO, the 40-year-old surgeon. But they are not dating Emma. Why would they? A man who has worked 80 hours a week to build an empire wants peace. He wants a woman who is grateful, not entitled. He wants a woman who is impressed by him, not competing with him. He wants a woman with low baggage, not a woman carrying the scars and cynicism of 100 Tinder dates. Emma comes to the table with high debt lifestyle inflation, high standards, high conflict capability, low fertility, rigid habits. The 24-year-old teacher comes to the table with her low debt, adaptability, high fertility, admiration. It is a simple value exchange. The market is efficient. Emma priced herself out of the market. She held out for a price that no buyer is willing to pay for a depreciating asset. Now she is panicked. This is the Epiphany Phase. She starts to compromise. Okay, maybe he doesn't need to be a CEO. Maybe a manager is okay. Maybe he doesn't need to be 6 feet tall, but it's too late. Even the average guys, the ones she rejected at 28, are gone. They are married to the Jessicas, or if they are single, they are bitter. They remember being rejected by women like Emma. They have gone their own way, MG Tao. They aren't interested in saving a damsel in distress who only wants them now because she has no other options. Nobody wants to be the settlement plan. Nobody wants to be the safety net that you only grab when you realize you're falling. So Emma sits on her velvet sofa. She has freedom. She can go to Paris tomorrow if she wants. She can buy any shoes she wants, but she cannot buy the one thing she actually craves: witness. Someone to witness her life. Someone to care if she wakes up in the morning. She was sold a bill of goods. She traded her birthright for a paycheck. And the worst part, she can't even complain about it. Because she is a strong, independent woman. She got exactly what she asked for. Complete, total independence. And it is the coldest place on earth. So, how does Emma survive? The human brain is a survival engine. It cannot live in a state of constant cognitive dissonance. It cannot wake up every morning, look in the mirror, and say, I made a catastrophic mistake that has cost me my genetic legacy. That level of regret is too heavy to carry and it would crush her. So the brain invents a shield. It constructs a coping mechanism for Emma and millions like her. This coping mechanism manifests in 3 distinct and socially acceptable behaviors. First, the misdirected maternal instinct. Biology does not negotiate. Emma has a nurturing instinct hardwired into her DNA. It needs to go somewhere. Since there is no child to nurture, that energy is redirected. Enter the fur baby. Emma gets a French bulldog or a golden doodle. She calls herself a dog mom. She buys it organic food. She dresses it in sweaters. She refers to the dog as her son. This is not just a pet. This is a surrogate. It creates a synthetic simulation of motherhood. It triggers just enough oxytocin to keep the biological alarm from deafening her. But it provides none of the deep legacy-building fulfillment of raising a human being. It is a biological pacifier. Second, the chemical buffer. Walk into any high-end bar in Manhattan, Chicago, or London at 600 p.m. Look at who is drinking the Pinot Grigio. We laugh about wine mums and rosé all day, but let's call it what it is. Self-medication. Emma drinks to numb the silence. She drinks to shut down the anxious chatter in her brain that asks, is this it? Alcohol is the lubricant that allows the modern independent woman to slide through the friction of her solitary existence. Third, and most dangerous, the echo chamber of toxic positivity. Emma has a circle of friends. They're all single, they're all 30-something, they're all successful. They form a defensive phalanx around each other's egos. When Emma complains that she can't find a man, her friends do not tell her the truth. They do not say, Emma, you are difficult, your standards are delusional, and you need to be softer. No, that would be unsupportive. Instead, they feed her the poison of false empowerment. They say, you're a queen, don't settle. Men just can't handle a powerful woman. You don't need a man to be happy. The right one will come when you least expect it. This is sabotage. It is a Thelma and Louise suicide pact. By validating Emma's delusions, her friends keep her trapped in them. Why? Because if Emma settles down, if Emma admits she was wrong and changes her behavior to find a husband, it forces her friends to face their own failures. Misery loves company. Single women keep each other single. They encourage her to go on healing trips to Bali or Tulum. They post photos of girls' trips with captions about sisterhood. They convince themselves that this is the peak of existence. But notice the pattern. They are always consuming wine, consuming travel, consuming validation. They are never creating. They are not creating life. They are not creating a home. They are not creating a lineage. Emma is stuck in a loop of consumption designed to fill a void that can only be filled by creation. She is putting a band-aid on a bullet wound, and the band-aid is made of Gucci silk. We need to stop lying. The story of Emma is not an accident. It is the predictable result of a society that declared war on biology. We told women they could have it all. We told them they could be the CEO, the mother, the wife, the traveller, and the party girl all at the same time, at the highest level. This is a mathematical impossibility. Life is about trade-offs. To say yes to the corporate grind is to say no to the energy required for a family. To say yes to waiting until 35 is to say no to your prime fertility. You can have a career, you can have a family, but you usually cannot focus on both at the same time with the same intensity. You have to choose your sacrifice. To the women under 30 watching this, look at Emma, look closely. Do not let the media gaslight you. Your career will never wake up at 3 a.m. to hold your hand when you're sick. Your degree will not mourn you when you die. Or if you want a family, prioritize it. Treat finding a husband with the same ruthless dedication you treat your job search. Don't wait until you are ready. You will never be ready. Build with a man. Don't wait for him at the finish line. To the Emmas watching this. The game is not over, but the rules have changed. You are fighting a war you cannot win with your old weapons. You must kill the boss babe avatar. If you want a partner now, you must lead with your femininity, not your resume. You must dismantle the list of demands that is keeping you lonely. Drop the ego. Look for character, not status. Look for a man who offers peace, not just a paycheck. The truth is harsh, but it is the only path to liberation. Happiness does not come from empowerment or independence. Happiness comes from alignment with your nature, alignment with reality. The world doesn't care about your feelings. The world respects the laws of cause and effect. You can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality and wake up. The clock is ticking.